Okay, friends, let's get real here for a second. You've heard the stats. It's a fact. Something like 90% of elk hunters don't generally punch their tags. So to us, that means one of three things. You resign yourself to becoming one of the possible 90% this coming fall, or you do what it takes to become one of the 10 percenters. Even better yet, how about we all just change the whole dadgum success percentage altogether? Katie, bar the door. It's time for some grinders to put us a whooping on some of them stats. It's part 4 of our ElkBros PreSeason Elk Hunting Guide. Be in it to win it. In this episode, let's talk about increasing opportunities through increased conditioning. And y'all, this is one you just might want to forward to your elk hunting buddies. That discussion, along with our ElkBros shoutouts. So my friends, pull up a chair, adjust your volumes just right, and welcome to Blue Collar Elk Hunting.
Welcome to Blue Collar Elk Hunting, brought to you by ElkBros.com, with your host Gilbert Ornelas and elk hunting coach Joe Gilly. You want to hunt elk? They live to hunt elk. Their goal is to share with you what they have learned grinding it out for over 30,000 seasons, doing what they love. So come on into camp and set a spell. Welcome to Blue Collar Elk Hunters.
Hello there, everyone. If it's your first time with us, glad to have you. Hope you enjoy our show. And as always, for those blue collar hunters following our show and grinding it out with us every week, welcome back to Elk Camp. I'm Gilbert Ornelas, the host of your show, coming to you from Spring, Texas, and from Katy, Texas. That's right, one of the most important members of the Venezuelan mafia.
Careful.
The most. Gonzalez.
Yeah, baby.
From our DFW
Check it out.
area,
True mafia leader right here.
the one and only Manano Grateron. And
Yes, sir.
your elk hunting coaches are in the house. Leroy the Ninja Chavez and Joe Gilly is in the house tonight. What's up, fellas?
What's going on, Big O?
How's everybody?
We're doing good, brother. If I was doing any better, Joe, I'd be wearing my brother's pants.
It's nice to see Manano with a smile on his face tonight. Somebody asked me, they sent in an email and they were like, was that Manano or was that a mannequin? Because I didn't see him move for like 30 minutes straight, man.
That's what happens. That's what happens when I break him.
No, that's what happened when you have 2 kids, year and a half and 2 months.
I don't want to hear it, man. You brought that
so
stuff on
many
yourself.
diapers.
Dude, we've all been there, dude. You wanted a bicycle, then paddle.
Yeah.
Okay, let me say this.
Wait,
Never,
did he
never.
just say bicycle paddle? Or I thought you paddled with like a boat or something.
What do you do with a bicycle, Joe?
So then he
paddle, you
complained.
don't paddle.
Pedal, Move. My bad,
Oh,
but
man, Joe, you don't miss nothing. Joe's sharp as a tack, guys. I'm telling you.
Man,
Don't want to
please.
misspeak around old Mr. English over there. School teacher.
Oh yeah, the
Lord.
redneck from the backwoods, Mr. English, right?
I guarantee Joe didn't teach English in school.
No, I got an F in English in school.
Hey,
man.
Manano, how many diapers did you change today, bro? How's
well,
your workout going?
today was a good day, though.
You look good, man.
I left home around 1 o'clock, but till 1 o'clock I have changed, I don't know, 10 or 12.
Dude,
But-
I think these things. No kid does 10 or 12 in a day.
I got 2 kids.
No,
I
okay,
got
man.
2 kids.
Listen, you got to
2.
stop feeding them. Just stop feeding them.
No, Tomas,
I mean, it's
eat
just-
a lot,
it's just-
man.
There's no,
Mass
there,
in,
you
mass
cannot.
out.
You cannot
No.
complain. You put this on yourself. I told you.
Absolutely. No, I'm not complaining. I'm just
Watch
trying
TV,
to.
You won't have this problem.
Yeah, guys, we have a ton of content tonight, man, and I'm going to push us along a little bit, and I'm going to do. I just before we get going, and we're going to rock and roll, guys, for you guys this evening because this
Lots
is.
of content.
Yeah, there's a lot of content with this and some important things for us to talk about in different ways here. But I want to give a quick shout out to some organizations, guys, that we think that you guys should give a follow. And You can get, and I mean, give them a follow on Instagram, check them out, look them up on the net, on the web, and then, you know, they're just such great organizations and causes. The first one's Second Chance Outdoors, and then right behind them, the Warrior Mission Ranch. Different states, both of them deal with vets, and they do it in different ways. And it's just so, and the Second Chance Outdoors is not only vets, but it's first responders as well. That's and cool. So cool what Logan is doing over there with that program, and you know, trying to be there. There's so many first responders, vets out there that a lot of times think they're alone in a lot of these things. And the big message that they give is, you're not. We're here. And it's just a cool message, and they get them involved back in the outdoors. And Mike McCabe and the Warrior Mission Ranch, give that a look. He does things with vets, and he does it with equestrian, and his program is just such a super. And they are actually doing a raffle this coming week. So go look up the Warrior Mission Ranch. They're trying to do a raffle to raise money for their program. Give them a holler. Check them out, help them out. It's a worthy program. And then Disabled Outdoors, they have different organizations in different states, but you'll see what this crew does, where a disability is an ability, and it's ability to overcome. And they do things, getting involved in the outdoors and in hunting. And man, I tell you what, these some of the great hunts these guys are doing, and the great camaraderie and the way they're doing out there is it's just a super program. And I just love the whole purpose of all these. And so the Elk Bros are giving them a big tip of our hat and want you guys to check them out. Also, before we move on, Gilbert, I know you're going to get us going here. I just want to give a shout out, man, to our Patreon patrons. And we're going to yell those names out in one of these other shows here and just give them a quick shout out, because there's about 25 of our patrons, man, that they have been the ones that have really, truly kept the lights on and let this program flourish and given us a way to help others help themselves and help us to help other people to enjoy this incredible outdoor adventure that we call elk hunting. And I just want to thank you guys, our patrons out there, that have gone and supported us in whatever way that you have done that. A big thank you to you guys too.
Yes, absolutely, man. We you guys are, like Joe said, help us keep the lights put on here to help us do what we love to do, and we'll keep bringing the content. Man, guys, keep sending us emails too. I get emails every week.
Oh, heck yeah.
I dig them, man. I had one this week. And I know Luis has some, but enjoy all. I mean, we actually had a doctor reach out to us.
Oh, Ben Thompson, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Doc Ben.
Yeah, man. I emailed him back. Doc, thanks for, getting back with us, man. That's so awesome that he wanted to help us out. He asked a few questions and this, that, and the other, and then offered his services, if we need any foot or ankle questions or anything like that. So super cool to have all that going on, man.
Yeah, it is, man.
Appreciate our listeners wanting to give back and help out.
Oh, man, because look, our listeners, you guys out there, over 6,000 cities, 70 countries, unbelievable. And it's you guys that, and we get such great reviews, and it's so cool that you guys take the time out, because to honor the time that we're giving here. And that's what it feels like when you do that. It's like it makes us know that what we're doing is really helping you. Yeah,
man, for sure.
It has value, and that's all it takes, man, is to know that things have value, right?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So,
you bet.
So thank you guys.
You bet. Guys, y'all know what time it is.
Shout out
For the Elk Bros shout outs. And if you're new to our show, this is just shout out to a few cities with the most listeners topping our charts this week.
And we have one video shout out today. Guys, remember, if you want to be part of these special shout outs, you can. Just get your cell phone, just take that puppy and take a 10 to 15 second video in this format, not this one right here, in this format of yourself in landscape view and tell us your name, where you're from, and include a home of whatever line or something special about your hometown. You can then send the video through a message on our ElkBros Instagram. You want to find us on Instagram? Look up ElkBros. That's ElkBros, one word. Or email me, joe@elkbros.com, and I'll set it up and send a link to you so that you can send it to our Dropbox, all right? We want to get you guys on our show. It's just so cool when we see your faces, man. So share. Come on, let's see you do that. Show your face and celebrate your place, okay? So I'm going to share today's video.
Shane Rasmussen from Garden City, Utah, over here at Bear Lake at the Cisco Disco. Bear Lake's the home of the Bonneville Cisco, the only place in the world you can catch one and eat it.
That's pretty cool. Thank you, Shane.
Yeah, thank you, Shane.
That was cool.
Cisco Disco.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, Shane, man, appreciate that, bud. And now for our top listening cities.
Starting off with the first one, this top listening city is the capital and second largest city in Wisconsin and sits on the isthmus between Lake Mendota and Lake Monona. The Ho-Chunk Indians called it Techopera, land of four lakes. It is known for a superb selection of craft beverages and features events like Great Taste of the Midwest, Craft Beer Week, and Isthmus Beer and Cheese Festival. And I noticed that on the CBS Sunday morning show that it was rated the top city in the United States to live in, and that's Madison, Wisconsin.
Madison, Wisconsin, the top
cheese
rated
state.
city.
Yeah, because they have their water supply. There aren't any natural disasters that are imminent in that area, so a lot of people are moving to a safe place. A lot of people from California and other places.
I thought it had to do with the superb selection of craft beverages.
And probably beer.
Yeah, I'm sure that don't hurt, Joe.
Yeah.
It don't hurt, man.
Up next, okay, located on an island of the same name on Lake Washington, this city is part of the Seattle metropolitan area. It is connected by floating bridges, pontoon bridges, to Seattle and Bellevue. Recognized as one of the top 50 suburbs in the U.S., it offers over 475 acres of parks and open space, including 3 public beaches and 50 miles of hiking trails. This is going for Mercer Island, Washington.
Mercer Island, man.
Mercer Island.
Look,
He loaded that beaches in there just to try to stump old Manano, but
Yeah,
Manano,
Joe,
he breezed through it like a pro,
please.
baby.
How you? I mean, please don't do that on
boy.
me.
Oh boy, it reminded me of my days back in high school.
Oh my goodness, Joe! Don't do that again, Joe. Don't do that again, brother.
I was like, man, you can do this. You can do this.
Guys, he's got his counselor
3
voice out.
public beaches.
Yo, I shouldn't speak too quick, but man, you're probably gonna have to speed that one up about 50% this time.
I don't know. It might shorten up that sound of the beaches, man. So yeah, we're not going to do that. But hey, let me go back to the fact that Washington, man, our Washingtonians
Showing up all the time.
Oh, guys, man, you guys are so phenomenal. And
Yep.
and now, we've had so many people that are just hitting us so hard from the Washington area that man, I am not going to, just because you guys are doing such a good job at following us, I'm not going to tell everybody what an incredible elk hunting state that is. All right? I didn't.
Oh, man, yeah. Yeah. We won't say y'all need to be elk hunting in Washington all the time. Oh, that's awesome. Well, next up, Joe, this city here is named after the Spanish words for the meadows. This city is steeped in history. In 1846, General Stephen Kearny proclaimed New Mexico as part of the U.S. during the Mexican-American War on the town's plaza. President Theodore Roosevelt and his Rough Riders held their annual reunion here, home to over 900 buildings and homes that are listed on the National Register of Historic Places. This city is also the location for numerous movies and TV series. Among them are Easy Rider, Convoy, Red Dawn, Wild Hogs, No Country for Old Men, Longmire, and House of Cards. It's also the home of Joe Gillia's alma mater, New Mexico Highlands University, and Chav's high school alma mater, the Robertson High School, in none other than Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Yeah,
Las Vegas.
man.
Las
We've
Vegas,
been through there a few times.
Many, many times. Every time I come see Joe.
The Meadow
might-
City.
I might add that about 10 miles up the hill as the crow flies, Joe killed his first elk in the Pecos Wilderness.
That's
Yeah.
cool. So not
Yeah.
too far from Las Vegas, huh?
Nope,
Actually,
up the mountain.
I actually killed that elk at about 40 yards with no arrow rest. I went to draw back, and my arrow rest from hiking through the forest had gotten stripped off, and I had to actually put my finger up on my handle and draw back off my finger to be able to shoot that.
Smoked him at 40 yards, fellas.
Yeah, it was. That was something else. Las Vegas has been tremendous in our life. Chav's family's from there. My wife's family's from there. Las Vegas, New Mexico Highlands University, our alma mater there, and
That's
you know, Chav has a very large family. Most people don't know. How many total brothers and sisters, Chav?
I got seven brothers, 3 sisters.
Woo!
Wow.
Man,
Maybe
you
boomers.
kind of like Manano's family. Your parents didn't watch TV either, Chad.
Yeah,
Happy boomer.
yeah, that's what happened before cable came in, man.
Exactly.
Luis.
All right, this top listening city is located on the southeast border of the city of Rochester, and was originally settled in 1790. It is known for the Monroe Avenue Bagel Bakeries and Max Chop House Restaurant. The original residents were the Native American members of the Seneca tribe of the Iroquois Nation, or Iroquois Nation.
Got it.
The Buffalo Creek Treaty of 1788 eliminated Seneca's claim to the area, none other than Brighton, New York.
On the other side of the U.S., man.
On the
right
other
in New York.
side of Rochester.
Thanks for listening. Rochester, yeah.
You bet.
Yeah, awesome, man. So, last but not least, this city is home to one of the founding fathers of elk calling, Wayne Carlton himself, located in the upper Uncompahgre Valley and is home to world-class outdoor recreation activities and known for its outdoor manufacturing products. Guys, this place is like the epicenter for the outdoors. These companies include Scott's Fly Rods, Able, Airflow, Ross Reels, and Gordon Composites, who is the maker of 90% of the high-performance laminate material used in the bow hunting industry. And I just want to give a shout-out. You know, for me, growing up and becoming a bow hunter, Wayne Carlton, Larry D. Jones,
Yeah.
was those were the guys, man. And you know, of course, all of us always heard about Fred Bear and those things. Yet, you know, Mr. Walker, Mr. Doug Walker, but you know, Wayne Carlton and Larry Jones were the guys, man. And Wayne's son Mark has continued the tradition and passion with his own elk call company, Native by Carlton. And this is in none other than the elk country of Colorado, Montrose, Colorado.
Montrose, Colorado. Yep, my bugle tube is one that a famous elk cutter gave me about 10 years ago, and it's a Carlton bugle tube.
Yep, the Carlton Mega, man. That's
It's awesome.
yeah. And I, you know, I think that Hunter Specialties that bought that from Wayne is stopping production of those. So
Oh no! Gotta
Yeah.
find a few on eBay. Hurry
Yeah.
up!
Well, you know, I'm not going to let any cat's out of the bag, but there might be something else happening in the future for that. So
that's what I'm talking about. Black secrets. I want
tonight's
one, Joe.
topic. Let's get rocking and rolling on this, man. Guys, like we told you before, the goal of the Elk preseason guide series is to give you our tips. And let me make sure that you guys are clear on this. These are our perspectives and how we do it. We're not saying that we know everything because, well, I try to tell my wife that every now and then, but she don't want
They let us know real quick. We
tell
sure as
Anna.
hell don't know everything. Tell you that.
The whole thing about this series, guys, is to try to get you rolling in the right direction and help you have a plan on this upcoming season, no matter what level you are. The what, when, why, and how to hunt elk this year. And we've already done 3 parts to this. This is part 4. Tonight, our topic is increased conditioning, increased opportunities. Next week will be situational prep and scenario training ideas. See it, do it, be it. Part 6 after that will be 8 key mindset components of successful elk hunting. Part 7 will be learning to paint with your elk calling. Part 8 will be elk scouting focus goals and realities. And again, we are still adding to that list as we're going. So there will probably be even more. And like I said, the whole goal, man, is to get you guys ready. We want you to go in and know that you have the ability to get it done this year. Okay? So let's rock with tonight's part 4, increased conditioning, increased opportunities. So, guys, I'm going to put a question out for you guys right now, and this is how we're going to start it off. When we look at the whole picture of an elk hunt, how important is the relationship of conditioning to elk hunting success?
To me, it's top
I
3.
can tell you right now, brother. For me, it's every year. I mean, you know, I've struggled for many years when I first started out with conditioning, and that held me back. You know, so for me, it's one of the top things that I have to do every year to be able to push through, because we hunt in some tough environment, and there's a lot of guys that are out there that are DIY guys that hunt in really tough environment, even higher than we hunt, Joe.
Oh, absolutely.
So the air that we breathe is pretty dadgum light, but there's places in Colorado where they're 12,000 feet, you know, and I mean that's much higher than what we're hunting in. But for me, there's just, you know, again, when I got on the mountain, I was 335, 340 pounds, man. There's the enjoyment of the hunt was awesome the first 40 yards. After that, man, I mean, I was freaking going uphill both ways, going and coming, you know? So, son, I mean, when we talked about it, yeah, I mean, I needed to get my fat ass in shape. And look, round is a shape.
You know, Gilbert, I mean, I think there's T-shirts going on. We got guys making T-shirts right now that are saying "round is a shape," right?
Round is a shape, damn right. Look, I've said that.
Beto, come on, man. Every year you show up in camp, you've lost 100 pounds.
Yeah, because I gained
270 is a
years,
number.
that's all I hear. I lost 100 pounds. From
270.
What y'all don't understand, man, is when I get
240.
home, my wife goes to cooking in
Oh, so
November, and look, we had the
gaining back
COVID
up.
go on. I'm telling you, COVID will put it on you, right? The COVID quarantine weight, right? So it was tough. And then I had a foot problem this year. Look, the year before I came into camp, and I was in really good shape, 260 pounds. And I mean, I was really good shape. And I had to be, because I'm telling you, Joe would have killed me the 3 days we were together going up and down, up and down, up and down.
In circles.
The same mountain, right? If I wouldn't have been in good shape, I'd have died. I'm telling you. Brendan was horribly, you know, going like, oh my God, he's going to kill us. We got to go up that mountain again, right?
In circles.
Yeah, for me, 100%, I would say my diet and my exercise. Guys, I don't mean to boast. I can shoot the heck out of a daggum bow, right?
Yes, you can.
I can flat shoot, right? That is never going to be my weak point. right? I just, unless my eyes go or I can't see any longer or something like that, it's just not. I've done it so long since I was a kid. I can shoot a bow, but getting myself to the animals in that country, it's a hike. And I can tell you, these boys have all had this anchor, Yo Soy, right here, right behind them, and you know, I huff and puff a lot, and I might even grumble a little bit, but at the end of the day, you know, it's about being
You can
invested.
go. You're gonna kill me.
Just, you know, leave me right here to die. Y'all come bury me out this hill.
So, but okay, so Gilbert, you said, all right, like when I met you, you were 330, right?
Yeah, 335, 338.
Yeah, and do you? So what? I guess the point that I want to make is that can people in that condition still kill an elk? Yes, they can.
Heck yeah, man. Heck,
Right?
you know, blind hog can find an acorn anywhere,
Yeah,
you know.
but your success is really going to grow right with your
Oh, man.
conditioning. Your ability to have opportunities is going to go right according to your conditioning. And
Yeah, and you know, the older I get, the more methodical with that conditioning that I must be. You know,
Yeah.
And when I'm hunting, I know how to expend that energy. You know,
Right.
I'm real slow and methodical as we're going, so I'm conserving energy. And then boom, when you hear some, man, it's time to roll, right? I can do that. I mean, I don't have any problem doing that. It's the recovery that takes a little bit of time, but
In
I
only
never,
one speed.
yeah,
you can
it's
do it.
slow, but it's one speed. I'm gonna get there. You know, case in point, this year when I forgot all about how out of shape and how bad my foot hurt when we got in the middle of them bulls and had to just sail down that mountain, right? And before you know it, I'm dragging my bow back, you know, huffing and puffing. I'm dragging the bow back and I'm releasing an arrow. So, you know, for me, Joe, it's 100% the most important thing I do because I'm not 35, 40 years old like these flat-bellied gentlemen that we got here hunting with us from the south.
things are changing for them too, man. I think, you know,
Yeah.
things start to change, man, as you know, those guys hitting it out there in their 20 that have been running around all the time. You know, I mean, if you've been doing any kind of decent life where you're not smoking and just, you know, just chugging the beer all the time and growing on the couch, man. I mean, you guys get out there, you're running around working at a young age. You know, you can do some of this stuff a whole lot easier. And I think there's times when you take things for granted because as you start to go and you get older in age, you start to take for granted the fact that I might have to work a little harder to feel like I did.
Well, and smarter, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, for me, you know, the hit training, like Luis has been doing, high intensity where I go really hard for really short periods of time. I don't need to run a marathon to elk hunt. You know, I need to be good with that quarter mile, half mile, really get after it, you know, cut the distance, get my body to recuperate. So those are the things for me. And then having my body healthy, you know, 51 years old, having my body healthy to be able to keep up with the cardiovascular training. And again, you know, some of the strength training too, just doing some simple calisthenics, you know, push-ups.
And we're going to talk.
sit-ups, stuff.
We're going to talk more about that. And we're going to, you know, as we get down there a little
Yeah,
bit,
yeah.
talk a little more of what we're doing.
Yeah, and I'd say, Joe, can you be in shape and not have success? To the contrary of what you said, can you be out of shape and have success? Yeah, you can be in shape and not have success.
Sure.
Right. So, I mean, I've seen that happen. You know, I'm totally out of shape and kill a bull, and guys that could run circles around me hadn't. You know,
Yeah, well,
so
I mean, I see it as building blocks. You know, there are several things that you kind of need to have the whole package in order to maximize your opportunities. I think some things will help you maximize opportunities, but you may be lacking in others that are taking that number down, right?
Sure.
That probability down. So the point is to kind of identify what your weaknesses are. See, your strength is, the shooting, right? So if you feel your weakness is the conditioning, then you need to maximize work on your conditioning in order to kind of, maximize your whole total bottom line score, I guess.
Not only just to get the opportunities, Luis, but to have an enjoyable experience. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, man, you've been there 3 days into the hunt, and that altitude's weighing on you and your bones and everything hurts.
Yes, sir.
Your scalp even hurts. It's freaking rough, dude. You get out of bed that third morning and man, you can't hardly move, dude. It's not anything other than you're not in shape.
It keeps you humble. It doesn't matter.
Look you in the face like a shitty mop. It will humble you,
Yeah, it keeps you humble. I agree. I think, it doesn't matter. I feel that I've had ups and downs in my journey of, going out the mountains with Joe there. And I started out very badly out of shape. I could still keep up, but to the point of, it wasn't enjoyable. I was tired. I was catching my breath, right? Maybe for the first couple of hunts, but then after that, I was like, man, I don't want that anymore. So, started training a little harder, trying to put more hours and exercising some more, and it just feels better and better every time. But it's not like it's gonna make it go away. You get there. You're going to feel tired. You're going to feel out of breath.
It's just really hard.
You're minimizing the impact.
Yeah, but that's just it. You're mitigating that, and it's not like a distance runner does not feel it when they're running hard distance. It's just that their recovery is quicker.
Yes, sir.
And how they feel after they do that hard work feels differently. It's not like they're just bogged down and they're hammered and they just got to go someplace and fall apart.
I agree, and there is a mental factor to that too, Joe.
Yeah,
sure.
Because the fact that in your mind you put in the hours, you put in the work, it just kind of makes you believe more in yourself when you're up in the mountains and you start feeling it. It's like, okay, I've been prepping for this, so I can keep going. I know I can do this. I know I can handle it. And look, last year it took me a few the first couple days or so before I felt like, okay, I'm evening it out now. I feel good. So by the third day, I was like, okay, I got this. I feel way better. And towards the end of the hunt, I was like, man, that it paid off. And it paid off because of what you're saying, because I was able to enjoy it more, because I was able to, I was ready for opportunities if I needed to kind of speed up, slow down, and it's a must. To me, it's a must. And
I'm tired. For sure.
I'm tired of going through the cycles. I decided that this year wasn't going to be the case, so I'm trying to maintain my workout ethics.
Yeah, me too.
He got tired to go behind me. That's all. He's worried about going behind me all the time.
That's fine.
Look
we'll see what happens this year. Yeah, see if the diaper changing is going to help you out in the mountains this year, bro. You're not 35 anymore, brother. You're not 35 anymore, brother.
I'm waiting for that to sneak up on Manano, because Manano's always been a phenomenal,
No, man, I don't have that problem.
Yeah, that's good, man.
I will have it someday, but for now, you're gonna keep seeing my butt.
Some of it's just plain stubbornness. I can tell you that straight up. It's straight up what they call corazon, heart, buddy. You got it, you got it.
The thing that we always let people know, and look, you guys that are listening to this, I want you to hear this real clear, okay, is that for your hunt to be a success, it's dependent on two things. For your hunt to be a success, and that is you have to have an encounter, an opportunity, and you have to be able to capitalize on that opportunity. All right, that's for your hunt to be a success. That has to occur. Now, for you to be consistently successful as an elk hunter, that's dependent on you to be able to create your opportunities, not just wait on a chance encounter. See, on the first one, for my hunt to be successful, for me to have an encounter, there's so many ways I can have that. I could dumb into that encounter, right? I can hear an elk bugle and I can go find that elk, or I can wait at a wallow, or I can get in a tree stand, or I can find a transition. There's all kinds of ways that can happen, but a lot of times most elk hunters in that situation are either coming across one or they're waiting on a situation for that to happen. And for you to be consistently successful, you have to be able to create those opportunities, not wait on a chance encounter. And then, y'all, you have to be efficient at closing the deal. You got to be deadly in the red zone. So when we're talking about conditioning, and look, let me give you a reality. If you're from the Midwest and you've never been in the mountains of the West, if you're from Texas and you've never been to mountains of the West, let me tell you, if you're from any flat part of a state and you've never been to the mountains, and you have this idea, you've seen all these videos, and you think, okay, I'm going to look on a map, and okay, this is where I'm going to start, and I'm going to go down this hill. I'm going to go up that little hill right there on that base map app right there. I'm going to go up it, and I'm going to go to that meadow, and then I'm going to go down to the next ridge, and then you're going to get there, and you're going to actually see. You're going to be at a point where you can see that hill in front of you. You're going to go, holy crap.
Where did that one pop up from?
That's the downhill part.
That's just a little bump on my base map app, man.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that now. I've got to go down, and you look down, and it's like this canyon going down. Then you got to come up the other side, right? Or you look over there, and you're seeing that it looks so far away, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're at the bottom, you look up and it looks like it's so high. That can be daunting to you, especially if you see that hill and you start to go up that hill, like Gilbert said, for the first 40 yards, and you're like, oh my God, is this what it's going to be like, right? Mm-hmm. So in order for you to create opportunities, you ask these fellas, man, if we're on a ridge and we hear a bull bugle,
we don't hear it.
It's 3 ridges away.
Yeah.
Time to kick the tires and light the fires, boy.
The only way you can kill an elk is if you find an elk. And if that means that son of a buck sounds off 2 ridges over, guess where we're going, right? Mm-hmm. We're taking off. And we've actually, Chav and I, a good friend, shout out to Don City Baca. Don, if you ever listen to this, I don't know that he ever will, but we were hunting with Don. Remember that, Chav, at the trip together?
I will never forget that one. Talk about, I heard an elk. We were on top of this mountain, and we're looking through our binoculars, and about, gosh, as the crow flies, probably, it looked like 20 miles, but it was probably only 5 miles away. We see elk, and Joe says, okay, let's go. And we looked at each other like, holy cow, because it took us half an hour just to get down off that mountain. And then we did run into elk, but the trip back was crazy. We had to scale that mountain, and it was kind of a bald mountain. I'm not sure exactly what caused that, but there's a lone pine right in the middle of that mountain, and it took us almost an hour
as we're going up, right? We can see that lone pine.
Now the listeners need to understand.
Yeah, that was
when
a
Chaff says it was crazy, that's just another level. We don't understand Chaff's level of crazy.
Was crazy. When we got back to camp, Don walked straight to his tent and fell asleep. Didn't want to eat.
He didn't want to eat.
I think what the point Joe's trying to get across is, the more conditioned you are, the better chances to create opportunities. And as Bonanno said last week, is he doesn't believe in luck. If you prepare enough, you make your own luck, and a lot of that's just getting a condition.
Yeah.
I've heard of people shooting an elk that walk by their camp. You don't have to be in great shape, but that doesn't occur very often. But to be consistent, like our group has been the last couple of years, you want to be in good shape so that when that opportunity comes, you can close out the deal.
Absolutely, man. And guys, look, we're really trying to give you a real picture here. We're not sugarcoating this, and it doesn't mean that you're going to get in such good shape that it's not going to be hard, but it's going to be a different kind of hard, and it's going to be something that you can do, and you're going to be willing to go into the hard places that other people won't. Remember, a lot of times, there's a lot of people trying to find these critters, and a lot of times it just comes down to who's willing to go where some people won't. And that doesn't mean it has to be 8-10 miles back into the wilderness. Sometimes that's only 2 miles off of a road, that most people are passing, but you got to go down into something and go up the other side. Anytime you're on a ridge where you got to drop down and you got to go up on the other side, it's kind of like hurdles in track and field. Everybody wants to be a sprinter in track and field. But then as soon as you put a hurdle on the track, that eliminates 90% of the field, just like that, because they don't want to deal with the hurdle, right? So that's what I'm telling you is just by doing that, you increase opportunity. So I think we've spoke to that, but I also want to tell you this, that it doesn't, a lot of times when we hear about what it takes to be an elk shape, and we're going to talk about just what it means to be an elk shape, what does that mean? What does that take? A lot of times when we talk that, people think that they have to go through these masochistic programs or go join a gym or go do these types of things. Let me tell you, man, every one of you has the ability, no matter what your size, what your age, all of you have the ability to improve your condition. Every one of you. Now, you can do all the excuses, you can do all the justifications that you want. And it's not about this macho thing either. We're not into this thing where you go, oh, I did 20 miles today, so I'm an elk hunter. No, man, it's about having the ability to close a deal on an animal, increase your opportunities. If you hear something going off, or that there's going to be an area that's going to be tough for other people, that you have that ability to get into there. That's all we're talking about. It's about you having an opportunity and creating that, okay? And so let's talk about what it means to be in elk shape. What would you consider, Chav, it means to be in elk shape?
Well, the ability to grind it out, regardless of the situation. And a lot of times, and I know what hill that Gilbert is talking about, that we had to climb 3 or 4 times. And tell you what, that gets you. When you get to the top, you're out of breath. Your chest is burning. But there's an elk bugling on the other side, and that keeps you going. But when you get in elk shape, that means not just your cardio, but also, the muscles that require work, draw the bow, obviously. But, when you're climbing up a hill or even going down, sometimes it's harder going downhill.
Especially going on in deadfalls.
You got to prepare yourself for that too. So there's a lot of work that your knees and ankles have to get in shape for. If you're walking around a track to get in shape, that's going to be good in the early stages. But later on, as it gets closer to the season, you want to challenge yourself with some hill work of some kind, or getting out to a park that has hills. And instead of taking the trails, go, what do they call it? Bushwhack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just go right through the thick stuff, because that's stuff that a lot of people don't train for, and they just don't get used to that. And I know a lot of people that, general workouts, you don't carry anything in your hands. And it's probably a good idea to start carrying a 5-pound weight and increase it to 10 pounds. And that'll simulate carrying a bow.
So
Let's rifle, I guess.
Yeah, let's make sure people understood and heard that there, because there was a little burble and when you said that from our internet connection. But I mean, I tell you, if you have not carried anything in your hands about day 2 of carrying a bow or carrying a rifle, you know,
Yeah.
man, your shoulders, your traps and stuff they're just screaming at you, man. It
Yeah, it's
just
the same thing. And it's the same thing with carrying binoculars in a backpack. You know, your neck's going to be all sore the next day. And, those binoculars hardly weigh anything nowadays, but you can feel it.
Oh yeah.
So when you're walking or, also carry a backpack and just add pounds to it as the months or weeks progress, so that you're used to, carrying that. And then when you get home and you're dead tired, pull the bow out and shoot.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to be up in the mountain.
So to be in ElkShape, if we were able to paraphrase that, a person should be able to walk long distances. They should be able to go up terrain and down terrain, stepping over things with weight on their back and weight in their hands, right? I mean, this is kind of what I'm hearing, right?
Oh yeah.
So that's something for you guys to think about, is that, all right, there's also going to be one other thing that's going to happen for you as one of our grinders, is you're going to put an elk down on the ground. And that means if you're a half mile in, if you're a mile in, that means that now the work begins. So, I mean, it's a whole different kind of work. And there's just, especially for those first few packouts, man, the pride is just beaming and stuff. But after a while, let me tell you what, it is work. And so this is a small percentage of the actual hunt, but you have to have your body prepared for that, or it becomes dangerous, or it becomes a situation where you're not able to get an animal out and you end up losing some meat if it's a tough situation, right? So ElkShape means that you've got to be able to do the grind of the hunt. You got to be able to do the walking. You got to be able to do, and let me tell you, you got to be able at times to go. And when Gilbert was talking about HIT training, HIT, high intensity training, and that's something where all you have to do is, even on an uphill with a pack on your back, and if it's stuff you have to, at first don't do it with anything to step over, because it can wear at you, man, but you got to go hard for 10 to 20 seconds where your body is just really taxing itself, and then you have 10 seconds off. Then you go 20 seconds hard, and then you have 10 seconds off. It is an intense, high-intensity training. It only takes 2 minutes to get a workout in, but it is one of the toughest workouts.
Yeah, one of the things that's important is, depending on your age, there are levels in which you can bring your heart rate up that are safe. The older you get, obviously your heart rate, you want to keep it at a lower heart rates, and make sure that if you're going to do these things, at least you do it with somebody that knows how to, or make sure your doctor, approves it. Yeah, because it's not as easy as just going in and just doing it yourself. Sometimes you can hurt yourself. You can, the heart rate limits are up there, and if you sustain those for too long, it can cause issues too. So my recommendation would be go make sure that you can do these type of exercise, understand your limits, and then go with people that know. Try to find a good support system. If you know of a gym or a place that you can visit where they do this professionally, that's probably the best way to do it. If you don't, there are apps that would start you pretty slow. You put in there your weight, your height, your goals, and it will just start you pretty slow, and then kind of build up, right? That's what I did last year. Yeah. And but
as a disclaimer,
well, where you did have a banana close to, with a big structure metal backpack.
Yeah.
Hauling all that meat out of it.
Yeah, let's not forget who packed your elk last year. But let's keep on talking.
And no,
So
I think 100%. But Luis hits on a great point. Before you get started in any of these exercise programs, please consult your physician and make sure that you're healthy enough to do these things.
And
Because
absolutely, and I want to add to that too is if you wait till the last month, if you wait till the last 2 months, that's when you're really setting yourself up
Yeah.
for injury and setting yourself up for what Luis
Start
is
now,
talking
boys.
about. Those people, if you have, and I tell you, there's Luis is talking like he's worried about us old folks, but if you're the type of person that this is a year-round type thing, that let me tell you what Chav every day was like. Is that if you realize that this is a marathon and not a sprint,
Yeah.
if you work into this instead
sir.
of trying to bulldoze into it, if you have a training, see that's the difference between performing and training. Most people try to train like they're performing. We used to have kids that in practice would try to race in practice, and then when it came time to race, the body couldn't do that because it wasn't trained. And so you've got to work at training. You start with small steps and you build up.
Yes, sir.
And you don't hammer it right away. And understand that you are going to get there. Every step leads to the next mile.
Yes, sir.
And so you just gradually get that, and you're going to get better to where that beginning is going to look. I tell people, and I'll let you go, Luis, here in a second, because when I would do my workouts, I would actually start doing hikes, and I do a lot of hiking because I believe that, and here's my theory, is that training and conditioning should replicate or prepare you for the activity that you want to succeed at, and then train accordingly to that. So I would always start out in hiking mode for a certain distance. I would increase that pace. And for you guys that are looking for something, I think anybody can get on a treadmill. If you get to a point on a treadmill where you're going 4.2 miles an hour on a treadmill for an hour, right? 60 minutes at 4.2 miles per hour, you're going to hit 4 miles right there. If you're able to do that, you're able to get out there in the hills, right? Now, that doesn't mean you haven't done some of your hill work that you need to do, and I still recommend the hill training. But as far as your conditioning, so we always started out hiking, and then it would be like 80% of walking, hiking, 20% of jogging, running. And then we gradually change that as the months go by, right?
Your body will also tell you.
It will absolutely.
Damn right.
How it feels and whether or not you can give it a little bit more. See, one of the things that, and you said, no, you talking about us old people. I'm considering myself in the same bucket, and I'm talking out of experience. Because when I decided one day, I was like, I'm young enough, I'm going to do this F45 thing, right? So I joined this F45 gym. The first day, Joe, I about passed out. I was on the floor, dizzy. I swear my blood pressure went just friggin', it was floored. I couldn't get up. It took me a while I was about to call my wife to ask her to come pick me up, right? So I'm just talking out of experience. It's like, hey man, I'm not the soccer player I used to be where I could run a mile in 5 minutes and 38 seconds. I can now run a mile in, when I started running, it was like 11 minutes. Okay. I'm down to 9.5 now. And, it feels like it's getting better and better, but the point is you have to just gradually build up. You can't just wait for the last month or so and then just decide to go and do
let me ask you this. What do you think are the most important elements or focus areas of conditioning for people? What is it? We talk about ElkShape. So they're going, well, what do I need to work to get an ElkShape?
Cardio,
yes.
Cardio is probably the number one thing.
Yeah, I agree with Beto. I think you need, especially for us flatlanders, you know, you need to have the cardio in good shape. When you get up in the mountains, is the first thing is going to challenge you. But you
You
also
gotta
need to
you gotta
build.
eat too, because to do that cardio, you're gonna burn a whole bunch of calories. So you gotta, it's just like a race car. You put fuel in the race car runs good. No fuel, no bueno. So I mean, at the end of the day, gotta put fuel in the race car and good fuel too. You guys, when y'all get these workouts plans, y'all are gonna carb up and go do your workout, and then when you're done with the workout, gotta have some protein to build muscle and stuff, right?
And then get them legs strong, man. Just keep working on your legs.
Yeah.
As your body lets you know that
And the
you can
core.
give it, you can give it more, then just push it a little bit more. Try to extend the miles you run, go from walking to jogging to try running in sections. So the HIIT workout doesn't have to be just in weights. It can also be HIIT in running in sections like you do, Joe.
It can be HIIT and going up a steep hill. Man, I mean,
Correct.
with weight on your back.
Up,
I mean,
up and down stairs.
yes,
Hey,
absolutely,
you
man.
get on a treadmill, you don't have to run at all. You put that thing in a 30-degree incline, son, I'm gonna tell you right now, you try that for 10 minutes, son, you'll be throwing up your toenails.
Well, and that's a point I want to make to those guys that are in my age group too, is that the running sometimes is harder
hard.
on the body, man. I mean, do you
High
have to
impact.
be a runner? No, you don't.
No.
It's about getting your heart rate up, and if
That's
you can
right.
do that with steep inclines, if you can do that with stair steps, where you're doing low impact, but you're doing hard, intensive type stuff, that's going to get that heart rate up. So that's something that I want you to think about as far as that. And I'll tell you, you heard them say cardio. You heard them say legs. You make your living elk hunting on your legs. You make your
legs
living
and
on
feet.
your legs. But you take somebody like myself, and Chab doesn't do a whole lot of heavy weightlifting. But myself, I'm kind of under doctor's orders where I'm not able to lift weights. I have to do all body weight type stuff. And I tell you, body squats, burpees. Look, I'll tell you this. If you have no time for a whole bunch of different exercises, burpees are the #1 best all-around exercise that you could do.
I wanna extend an invitation, and it's actually a challenge, yo. I started it yesterday. Okay, it's 30 days, 1,500 burpees. You can do them however you want. You can do them broken into 5, into 4s, into 10s.
So what I would tell somebody is don't listen to Luis.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you got?
Oh my goodness.
Can somebody hand me a pistol?
Hey, it's only 50 burpees a day. It's only 50 burpees a day.
It's only 50 burpees a day. And for
50
somebody that's never done
That's
a
a
burpee,
lot.
man, I tell you, try to do 10
You're
a
gonna
day.
do 10 burpees
Try
and you're
to-
gonna throw up.
Try to do 10 a day on your
You need a
first
good
month.
meal because you'll eat it twice.
Try to do 10 burpees and Sunday, you don't do anything on Sunday. For 6 days, try to do 10 burpees for a month,
man.
okay? And then once you get to that next month, see how you can do as far as progressing. But don't get into this thing of you've got to be this to be able to do that. You just have to get that body woke up, all right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
agree.
do core exercises.
Absolutely. Planks.
Planks, those core exercises. It's real important to have a real strong core. What we can't replicate, Joe, is we can't replicate the surface that we're going to be hunting on. And that in itself takes a lot of calf and outer leg dexterity, right?
Yeah.
So those little things like curb touches, I mean, we go out on the curb and just do calf raises and those things. Those are really good because they help strengthen your calves and ankles and everything else. Because this country that you might as well be walking on the face of the moon and all rubble.
For everybody out there, even you take a look if you're in flat Texas right there. And what Gilbert's talking about is that incline where it makes your toes have to go up. Now, steps won't do that because they're going to stay flat. But if you find overpasses, especially long overpasses, those hills on the side are a lot of those steep ones like that. And a lot of them have some good height to them. So
Get run over.
Yeah, if
Yeah, you don't want to do it here in Houston. They'll run your damn ass over. I promise you. You'll be a dadgum tire mark.
if you want to find something, you can find it.
Yeah, I do it
Yeah.
out here on my curb, man. It's,
Mm-hmm.
a really tall curbs and you can get, some really good leverage there and do calf raises. And,
Joe,
again,
what would you recommend for people to get started, to get motivated? Because that was the toughest thing for me. It's just like I couldn't
Start walking.
find.
I had
walk.
I had a friend that that I was talking to on IG the other day, and he was telling me his journey about how overweight he is and how much he wants to be out there in the woods. And I was like, are you walking? Because that's where you start. You start with one foot in front of the other. You start putting on walking. And if that means walking for a half hour at first, then you walk a half hour. If you get to the point and you have the ability to walk for an hour, and people are like, well, when do I do that in my life? I'm up at 5 in the morning, man. I don't have to be, but I'm up at 5 in the morning because I know what my carrot is and where I want to be, right? Mm-hmm. So if you want to find a way, you can. There's times where, you come in and you just kick it at the house and you're going to sit there and veg out for 2 hours. Shoot, man, throw on your headphones, get out there and start walking, man. Go with the love of your life out there, take the dog. Poor dog, man. These COVID dogs are getting worn out. I know they are, but but yeah, the whole thing is you can find a reason not to do something, or you can just put one foot in front of the other. So to your question, you start walking, and then
start slow, man. Start with 1 mile.
Absolutely.
Or if you can't do 1 mile, half a mile, and then increase it every week 10%.
If you've never done a burpee, try doing 5. If you've never done a plank. And we'll put some of these what they are. Look up what a plank is. Try to do a plank for 15 to 20 seconds because for people who've never done it, core strength, it can get tough, man. I mean, 30 seconds, you're shaking.
You start shaking at second number 5. Man.
Yeah, like a dog trying to crap a peach seed. I promise.
So the whole thing, oh my Lord, man, the whole thing is you just gotta start, man. Oh, we've just gone off the edge, man. We've just gone off the
Joe,
edge.
you can edit that if you want to, Joe. You can hit the floor.
So the point is you got to just start, right?
You have to start. That's right.
And look, it's not about doing a ton. It's about being consistent. So if I just walk on Monday and then I don't walk again till the following Monday.
Oh, you start over. It resets.
Yeah.
Chav,
gotta
what
go
happens,
at least every other day.
What happens for every 2 days that you're off, Chav?
Every 2 days off, you probably lose a week every day you're off.
Yeah.
Or more, depending on the situation.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, you just want to be consistent, even if it's not a whole lot, like Gilbert said, and you could alternate, if you're up to a mile, maybe the next day do half a mile. And what you really have to learn is to read your own body.
Yeah.
Your body will tell you,
That's
hey,
good stuff,
take a day off, let your body recuperate.
Yeah, and I tried, for me, I'm a little more advanced than just the mile thing. So for me, it's 3. That's where I start at.
All right.
I go on my 3 mile walk and I'll do some hit sprints in the middle of that. My knees can't take the constant pounding of running, right? So, because I'll be sore for a week afterwards and I won't want to go walk. So I really put it in high gear a lot of times and really walk fast, like, as fast as you can possibly walk for 20 minutes. And then, or for 20 seconds, and then I shut it down. And I will do some intermittent sprints because my knees will take that. But man, my walks start at 3 miles, and that takes me about 45 minutes. So to go a 3
That's
mile
about
walk,
right. Yeah.
and then I build from there. And by the time I'm ready to go elk hunting, I'm on 6 or 7. I go have my wife drop me off 6-7 miles from the house.
Because if you're doing 3 miles in 45 minutes, you're doing just about 4 miles an hour. So
Yeah, and I have Kelly go drop me off about 6-7 miles from the house, and I walk home. And I walk on the sides of the roads, its edges. I got a backpack on. I got my big stick with me that I carry that simulates my bow. But it's really for the crazy ass
Man, I
dogs.
stopped the backpack thing. People started kind of looking. I had some girls actually run away from me once
Yeah.
here in the neighborhood, and I'm like,
I
man, I
have
don't
my
know.
elk call. I have my elk calls with me. You'd be surprised how much work you can get in 6, 7 miles with you calling. You
Yep,
know, so
absolutely.
I've had a couple of police officers stop by and check on me and everything. Everything was good.
Let me
Just
tell
told them
you.
what I was up to.
Let me tell you something else you can include, because one of the areas that we haven't talked about that for me has been one of the most important that I find that I can strengthen while including it while I'm doing my hiking, and that's my shoulder work. And I do everything from shadow boxing to bottle caps to pulls to what I call air swimming. I do a lot of shoulder exercises while I'm doing that hiking. I utilize, and now I'm burning more calories. Now I'm getting my heart rate up even more by adding a different type of exercise to an exercise at the same time.
Yep.
There's some people that will go for a half mile and then they'll stop and they'll crank out 10, 15, or 20 push-ups and get up and keep going when they do that. And just by doing those things to break up that monotony, it makes you into a beast, both physically and mentally. It really does. So,
And for me, when I'm in better shape, Joe, wasn't in bad shape this year, but I wasn't like I was the year before. My recovery is so fast when we get through those high intensity 3 ridge hikes, right?
Sure.
That we got to roll, right? So we're over a ridge, down a ridge, up another ridge, and okay, now we're within 150 yards of him, and he was a half a mile away. You know what I mean? So I recover a lot faster, and I'm able to do things, to where I don't even realize it. I'm just in the moment. But when you're not in real good shape, that will seem like the most undaunting task there is, because you just whipped, and it happens quick. You can ask Luis. I mean, it can happen in the first hour of your hunt, and you spent everything you got, and man, it makes it really rough on you from there. So
Manano, I haven't heard from you, man. What do you do to stay in shape?
nothing.
Change
Drinks
diapers.
beer.
Changing diapers, and that's it, Joe. That's a secret.
Modelo Negro.
And have a bunch of friends to help you packing the elk out.
That's what I'm
That's the
talking about.
most important advice you can take, man. Don't
Yeah, as
go
long as you got
alone.
Manano and Luis with you,
Done.
you're not gonna have no worries getting your elk out.
Don't go alone. You must have somebody with you. And one important part of it, after you kill an elk, just take it easy. Just relax. I mean, there's no race. Just
Hell, Manano will even go to sleep on your elk. He'll pass clean out, right on a pile of rocks.
Yeah,
that's the skill.
but yeah, well,
There is
Manano,
no doubt about that, brother.
Manano has never done a solo, and he's never had an elk down in 88-degree weather when he's 3 miles away from a vehicle.
Yeah.
It changes
That's an
things, man.
advantage.
It changes things.
Yeah, you have
You're
to
right.
be. I mean, you have to be in great shape. To be an elk hunter.
Manano's one of them guys that are blessed, though. He's blessed with an athletic ability that God gave him. And I hate guys like you, Manano. Y'all
But
suck. All of you just
He
suck.
is my perfect example, though, man, because at one point that's going to catch up. At one point.
One day,
So
maybe,
yeah.
maybe, man. I got some buddies of mine that are my age that are just fit as a fiddle, and we can run circles around me, but and they don't do nothing, Joe. They make me so mad. They can eat cake and they can eat pie and spaghetti and everything else. Man, if I eat that crap,
That's what gets you the most.
Rub it on my butt, because that's exactly where it's
I
going.
work out a lot when I
So a
was
question I get,
riding.
guys. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Manano. What's that? Say
No,
that?
I used to work out a lot when I ride dirt bikes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but here
Tremendous amount of
I don't
stamina.
work out a lot. Yeah, I mean it's.
So when he
that's
was
a
riding
whole
dirt bikes a
different
lot,
deal.
you talk about a workout. That's a full body workout.
That's a whole different deal. I used to burn 3,000, 4,000 calories in every single race.
Yeah,
So that's a lot of cardio.
sure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So
Yeah.
a question I get from people a lot of times though is they ask me, can I do exercises every day? Because they, when you're in high school and even when you go to these gyms and they start going into formal weight training, you're doing body parts every other day or
Separate.
right? Yeah.
Back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're doing
Chest
chest
and
one
back.
day, and then you're doing legs the next
Arms.
day. You're doing and uh, what I want people to understand out there is yes, if you're doing a weight training regimen where you're tearing down and you're building back up, that's a whole different deal than if you're using body weight or you're doing endurance or you're doing yes, you can do these exercises every day. I do, like Chav said, pay attention to your body though, because sometimes if you start to feel something, sometimes a day of rest is more important than 4 days on.
Right.
Couple of things on that, Joe, that I've discovered with my body, and this is just me, right? I mean, I have learned that when I work out, the next day I feel fine.
It's the second day.
The actual soreness
Correct.
of my muscles and body, comes
Day two.
to fruition the second day.
Yes, sir.
That's when it really hits me like a freaking train,
Yes, sir.
right? So
That's
one
why
of the things.
that's why it's important to do recovery stuff on that next
Right.
day and on that.
And
Correct.
stretch.
No,
stretch
and
after.
that's where I was going, Beto. You hit it right on the head, right? I mean, stretching, I've also learned, helps me so much reduce the amount of pain that I get on that second day after the workout. Don't wait. And so when you're done with the workout, try to stretch those muscles as much as you can. When you get up next day, stretch them again in the morning, stretch them again in the afternoon, because it will make you feel way better. And if you maintain a regimen,
Yeah, you have it, regiment, right?
You got it.
if you maintain a regimen of workout, I've also found out that, hey, if I kind of do a little bit of workout the next day and then a little bit next day, just being warmed up and working out also helps that blood flow through my body and minimizes the pain of the 2 days ago.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, you got that lactic acid built up in your muscles. That's what causes the soreness. So you got to get that blood moving,
You
and
need some
help with
hair of the
getting it.
dog.
For sure, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's also a powdered
BCAA.
yeah, it's called powdered glutamine, and you put that in
really
some
good.
grape juice and drink that after, as your post-workout drink, and then the next morning when you get up, drink some of that glutamine. It will relieve a lot of that lactic acid out of the muscles, and we use it a lot with our athletes. It's really good stuff.
I drink
it's
it
an
during the
amino acid.
workout and
Yeah.
after the workout.
Yeah, it's an amino acid. It works really good on that lactic acid. in the
And I
muscles.
tell a lot of you guys too, man, it's about what you eat, drinking water, and like I said, what I
Staying
meant by
hydrated.
hair of the dog is if you were doing a certain exercise, it's going to make you really sore. Like Louis said, it's not going to be so much the next day as the day after that, but you can mitigate that by doing light versions of that same exercise that next day and then early on the following day. That actually helps to flush that stuff out of the body, out of
sir.
those muscles to help you from being so sore. And soreness just means that you did work to a muscle. It's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with it. Now, if you're having pain, then that's a whole different thing. So if we were to tell everybody thoughts on when to start, when should you say people should be starting to
Yesterday.
do the workouts?
Now,
Yeah.
man.
Now, right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Daily,
What'd
every
you say,
other
Manano?
day?
Right now.
I would try. I would try 3 days a week to start, right?
Yeah.
For the first 3 or 4 weeks, and then the next month go 4 days, and then the next month go 5 days, and then before you know it, it's 6 days. I always like to have 1 day for my body to recuperate
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So
I do-
five
I do-
days a week.
I do between 3 and 4 a week.
Yeah.
But what I do is I take an additional day where I just simply do a little running. And
Yeah.
it's just a short run. I feel like the running just kind of helps, again, that blood flow, that lungs to fill up, and just kind of, it's what you called it resting resting
Right.
running, or a recovering run.
Recovery,
That what,
yeah,
recovery
that's
run.
what you called
Yeah.
it, Joe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
so
do a recovery run.
a recovery run is just keeping your heart rate at a low rate. It's long, slow, easy,
Yes, sir.
and it just gets your body. That's a recovery run. And what I tell people is, like, when Gilbert says go 3 times a day, if you're going to do like an exercise regimen,
week.
I'm sorry, 3
Yeah.
times a week. If you're doing an exercise regimen, that 3 times a week, but keep doing that walking, and or if you're a
Yeah.
jogger, that jogging, whatever you choose to do there every day, but one day give yourself rest. So
Yeah.
if you're walking every day, you can go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, working your exercises that you do that,
Yeah.
and just get your walks in on the other day. You might pick a day that you're doing your HIIT training. Once you only need one HIIT training a week, actually. One
Yeah.
HIIT training, and always recovery after that. Okay. Now, Chav, you've been Chav's, you're getting ready to be 69 here real shortly, huh?
Yeah, pretty soon. Oh, next
Yeah.
month actually.
Yeah. So you've been, that means that you've already, for the last, 9 years, have been doing a lot of these workouts and stuff for your particular age group. How has it changed for you? And I mean, does that mean that it stops for people? Do they have to just change it? What do you do? What would you recommend for those late adult onset hunters?
Well, I think Gilbert had a good point about doing a long walk. I guess a 2-miler, maybe a 3.
Mm-hmm.
3 times a week, and maybe just go a mile in between on those days, the other days, the off days. But I would say if you're starting now, you have a couple of months, maybe 3 months to slowly start
Dial it in.
walking and just adding. And I think with me, I'll probably do 80 to 90% aerobic, where you can breathe okay. I'm sure your rate will get higher the longer you go, but you're breathing okay. And then maybe 20 to 10% anaerobic as you get closer to the field. And by anaerobic, I mean just short bursts of speed. Because when you're up in the mountains hunting, a lot of it's just aerobic. You're doing a lot of walking, but every once in a while, you're going to have to maybe run from one spot to another really quick. And if you've done a little bit of anaerobic training, you're ready for that too.
Or crawl up a steep hill.
Yeah, but I think at my age, just kind of read the body is the most important thing. You may need to take a day off, maybe even 2, and I don't mean completely off. You can do something on those days off, but you don't have to do the high intensity.
Right.
But I think aerobically is the key, because that'll keep you going. And
So
with me,
Go ahead. I'm
with
sorry.
me, I've trained so long, starting in the 8th grade through high school and college, that I've built a base over time. And even though I'm out of shape, I still have a base that I can draw from at my age. I think some people that haven't trained really hard for a long period of time, they're still building a base. Okay, because I used to run 15 miles a day in college. 5 in the morning, 10 in the afternoon. That was our training, but we were national champions, so it paid off.
Yeah.
So my body's accustomed to that. That's why as I'm getting older, it takes a little bit more time to get in shape. But because I've done so much training, hard training, I'm able to a mile. Once I'm able to get back the way I want to, as far as the feeling back in my legs and stuff, I think I can handle that pretty easy. And even up to 3 miles, pretty easy. But again, you got to start slow, read your body, make sure that you're not overextending. And if you feel a little tapping sensation on your leg, that means you're going to stop, because that could be a pulled muscle. A few more steps, it's a pulled muscle or a strained muscle, I guess I should say.
Mm-hmm.
So, read your body, see how you feel.
I feel those every once in a while up in the mountains.
Yeah, but Chav said something too that that reminded me, and I want to just kind of paint a little bit of another picture, is that, you know, he talked about how you had the long days, and then, you know, where you're doing 3, and then you can have, which are your easy days or your short days for a mile. Now you can also do that differently. That mile can be your hard day because you're going to go at a harder pace, you know. So because I'm only doing a mile, I can go harder, and then on my next day when I'm going 3, then I'm going to go at a slower pace and I'm more relaxed. I'm putting on, it's kind of like that recovery phase that we're talking about, Luis.
Yeah.
Man. So that's something to think about too, is you can change things up. Whatever you do, don't get in pace lock. You know, don't make it Groundhog Day. You know, always look to add something to improve yourself a little bit. Whether it's, you know, today I'm only going to go a half mile, but man, I'm going to go intense for that half mile, and then I'm going to walk and enjoy 2 miles after that. So it's just ways of changing things up so that your body doesn't get in a lock like that. Okay.
Yeah, you could do what we used to call telephone poles.
Yep.
You know, you walk, from one telephone pole to another, then you jog from one telephone pole to another, then you go hard, you know, as hard as you can from one telephone pole to another, then you walk from one, then you repeat. You just keep repeating. You know, and then
you can cover some miles doing that too.
Oh, heck yeah. Quickly.
I'll tell you what, that's the real fast way to run a mile or a 2 mile.
Is that the intervals?
It's kind of like intervals, except that it's never stop. I mean, the actual way our runners do it is you're running the whole time. You go, you know, at a steady pace from one telephone pole to another, then you pick it up and sprint to the next pole, and then you slow down again and go at a steady pace for another pole, and then you pick it up fast. You can go fast, slow, fast, slow, fast, slow.
So it's an active rest period, Manano. They're you know, so you're teaching your body to be able to work even when it's trying to rest.
Yeah, and that's the quickest way to get in shape. If you have a short period of time, that's a real fast way to get in shape, is to do that every other day or something like that.
Yeah,
it's a good way to get a heart attack too.
You won't.
So, guys, if you go to our website, you can go to ElkBros.com, and you can see where we have now a link on the top in our menu for season planning. And we've put like already, we put our best weeks calendars in there. We put things like, we put the draw dates, and some of the hunting seasons are in there. And we're going to be adding from that, like I'm going to go and put some different workouts in there for you people that want to do some of those things that are just suggested basic conditioning that you can get yourself in shape. It's not where you have to go get a gym membership. It's using body weight. It's using your own time. You develop your own schedule. It's just those things to, number one, get yourself prepared. So you can go and find that on there. It's going to be stuff that's going to come from this because we're hoping to help you have a preseason plan. Okay, so we're going to stick everything right there on our website. Grinders tuning in, thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Elk Hunting Podcast. Our goal is to share our knowledge and help you flatten that learning curve so that you too can have some of the very same incredible experiences that have given all of us here at ElkBros a lifetime of memories. If you like what you hear or see, you can get all of this information plus so much more from our Base Camp Elk Hunting Training Camp, the first in a series of online courses from our Blue Collar Elk Academy. Our Base Camp Training Camp allows me to use my coaching style and share almost 40 years of elk hunting experiences successfully hunting elk on public lands, as well as over 20 years guiding hunters of all ages and experience levels. This course will be like nothing you have ever experienced in concept and structure, using success-based coaching techniques that will elevate your confidence and skill sets. Our camp will prepare you specifically from that final moment most in your control, those final minutes or seconds the elk is in front of you, backwards through each step and level, allowing you to see, Visualize, understand, and relate every coaching point to what lies ahead, the next step, the next thought process, the next success. Because, y'all, you've already been there. You know what it looks like. By tapping my 30 years of teaching and coaching experience, our camps are developed considering multiple learning modes with text, visuals, audio, as well as video. And Base Camp will benefit those new to elk hunting all the way to the 10 to 15 year vet. So if you are looking for that one thing to help you fill that tag this year, invest in the most important piece of equipment there is, you and your elk hunting knowledge. You can find the Blue Collar Elk Hunting Academy and the Base Camp Training Camp at ElkBros.com. That's ElkBros.com. Keep dreaming of the screaming, believing in achieving, and most of all, keep grinding. And before we get out of here, guys, we actually, I know we didn't announce it at the beginning, but we do have an Elk Bros mailbox letters tonight. So we need to answer some of those, and we'll hit those before we get out of here. So, Gilbert, why don't you take the first one, man?
Yeah, the first one, man, we want to thank all of y'all for writing in and getting your questions here. First one comes from Michael Murray. He's out of Colorado. He says, man, there's so many companies in clothing layers, in the clothing layers game for the outdoors. It seems the top of the line stuff can run you as much as more than your bow. We were just talking about that the other day, Michael. Have you guys done an episode covering what's worth the money and what's not? No, we really haven't, because we kind of wear a whole plethora of things. I know Joe likes.
We did a while back, though.
We did.
I think we did talk about our gear.
About our gear. We did. It was another podcast where we did just about our gear. But we're grinders and blue collar guys, man.
Just get your layers, man.
Yeah, so much about elk hunting's about layering up, and for me, it's about staying cool, fellas, because I can sweat. I promise you. Too much clothing is no bueno for me.
No.
So I mean, look, when it was snowing,
Start peeling.
Yeah, when it was snowing, I'm gonna tell you right now, I had a base layer on, which was our Elk Bros camo base layer, Crew camo. Okay, so we would definitely want to promote that as our base layer.
You're shameless, man. You're shameless.
So it's a great camo, great base layer. So anyway, I had that on. I had an actual Sitka pullover that Joe gave me, and then I had my vest on after that, which is like a Selway vest. It's a real light vest, but it's got some really good insulation in it. And then I had a parka on over that, which I hate wearing a rain parka, but I'm telling you, boys, it was freaking cold. So I'm so glad I had it with me. And I didn't even bring my cold weather gear. So man, make sure you bring your cold weather gear even when you're hunting in early September, because we had 6 inches of snow hit us there on September.
And really, you need that cold weather gear more in camp than you do while you're actually hunting.
Yeah, for sure. But from now on, we're going to have a fire in camp, so we might not need that daggum gear, Joe. So I knew I'd get Bonanno's attention.
That's still debatable, man. That's
Joe, you can't go back.
I'm not bagging on
the kind of
anybody's...
deal when you go black, you can go back or something like that.
We're gonna have to find a better location for it, though, because I'm still unpacking stuff that still smells like burnt.
Fire, man. We don't need a fire, man. It's just
we do need it.
We do.
We should have one.
Move Luis's campsite.
We should have one, Joe.
Yeah. Look, so for me, I don't want to bag on anybody's camo. I think all camo's good. Their equipment. I mean, if you stick to the basics, man. If you stick to, I call them the big four. I mean, when you're talking about camo that's out there, there's some really good merino stuff that First Light's got out. Really,
and you can find that on. Look, there's a site called Camo Fire. Yeah. There's a Black Ova site. Yeah. You guys can go to that and Michael, no, you do not have to spend that same amount for what your bow is, man. I mean, Chav and I survived for years on stuff that we would find at yard sales. The most important thing was to have something that was a little bit of a base underneath if you needed it, or up on top. I don't worry about matching. I think the best way for you to break up is to have different camo from the bottom to the top, so we don't worry about that kind of stuff. I mean, I just don't buy that myself. And now look, if you want to get yourself one of those more expensive pieces of equipment, well, then that's
They're worth
great.
the
It's
money.
all relative, man. It's more
Yeah.
power to you. Whatever makes you feel like you're going to be successful out there, do that. Do you have to do that? No, you do not. I mean, we've lived off of Walmart T-shirts, me and Chav, for 30 years, man. And I bought some cheap polyprop to put underneath of that. We shower, so we try to mitigate our scent and things like that. We don't have to worry, and we have enough chones, and that means underwear for you guys that don't know. We have enough pairs. We have one for every day if we need to, and throw stuff in a dirty bag. But
I bring a pair every day. I change my underwear every day, and then I have a pair of socks and look, guys, if you want to invest in anything that's expensive, invest in you some good socks. Because your feet are going to take a horrible ass whipping when you're up there in these mountains.
Well, and I tell you, the socks and stuff, and if you think about it, if you are getting cold and stuff, the neck gaiters that they have out there now, just keeping your neck warm, having something on top of your head, no, Michael, you do not have to spend that much. And is there a bunch of that stuff that is worth their money? I'm sorry, but I do not think that some of those things that are priced as much as they are, and I hate to see that everybody is bumping higher and higher in that game because people are paying higher in that game because people associate a high price with high quality. Well, yeah, there are high quality lines out there, but do I still think that price matches? Yeah, maybe I don't, and there's some of those I just don't. I mean,
if it's got Gore-Tex in it, Joe, I feel like it's a real quality product, right? Because it's 100% waterproof, and there is nothing worse than being wet up in the mountains, right?
I agree.
I like Gore-Tex equipment, and if it's got a good Gore-Tex lining in it and stuff like that, you're probably paying for something that's good. But if it's not Gore-Tex, you're probably paying for something that's going to fail pretty quick.
Well, and how often do we need? We're not in Alaska, so
Right.
I mean, there's some of that extreme gear, that some of these companies make that you had better have in extreme conditions.
You betcha.
And yes, you can hit some extreme conditions, but I guarantee you that if you are ready with your right layers, you can survive those extreme conditions if they surprise you like we did in the mountains, man. We were not ready for that, but we had layers that helped us survive that, right?
You betcha.
So I think it might be something worth visiting in the future for us to talk about.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'd be willing to lay my clothing out and let you look. I mean, like I said, it's pretty much a base layer. I wear a cotton pair of BDUs. I mean, seriously, I'm not lying. It's a cotton pair of Realtree BDUs, and I wear, some Core 4 Element gear that you can't even buy anymore.
And
Core 4 Element went
it's
out.
better to invest money in air mattress and a body heater. Comfortable.
But
Rest.
I was listening to somebody talk the other day. I think it was Mark Livesey that was saying, is that a problem sometimes for people, and the reason they have a hard time getting up and hunting sometimes is they're too comfortable.
I don't care about it. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
I'll be willing to
Some of
argue
the
that
best
one.
sleep I get, man, is that
That's
nap
a big
between
no
hunts.
from me.
Hey, so Luis, why don't you take the next one there, man?
Absolutely, brother. From Mr.
Rick Hoops.
Shepherdsville, Kentucky. He says, last year, 2 of my buddies and myself went to northwest Montana for our first elk archery hunt. We all had opportunities on elk, but never capitalized. This year, we're planning on an OTC archery elk in Colorado. My question is, which type of unit would you be interested in? One with high success rates or high number of elk harvested? I have heard the horror stories of overcrowding. Would we be better off in less crowded unit or a unit with more elk and getting deep in the back country? We do not have the problem with that, and we adapt pretty well to situations. We are very inexperienced, but definitely work hard. Thanks for your podcast. Just started listening and enjoy all the content, and will soon join the base camp.
So Rick Hoops from Kentucky, man,
That
what
was a
a name
great,
to have, man. You know,
yeah, that was a great
my
question.
son-in-law would he loves Kentucky Wildcats, and this guy has a basketball last name. So,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty
That was a
awesome.
great.
Say that again, bud. You kind of went out.
That was a great question. Do you hear? Do you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
we
I
got
hear
you
you now. Yeah.
Okay, that was a great one. I'm gonna take this one. When I started hunting in the public land, I review, I don't know, so many public areas and the harvest success rate and stuff and the percentages, and I started going to the high percentage success areas, and I found so many hunters,
Hmm.
and I did see some white-tailed deers and stuff, but I mean, it was really hard to capitalize on those opportunities. So then I started hunting in those areas and nobody goes. Of course, I was hunting. I was going for hogs, for pigs.
Hmm.
So I mean, uh, and I rather go into low percentage success areas because if you're going to for an OTC tag,
Hmm.
uh, I would rather go for a low percentage
Well, it doesn't have to be
success
low either.
areas.
I mean, it could be something in between, man. I mean, but I agree with you. Is if I saw high percentage success rate in a place, man, I'm crossing that off, and I'm going to look for something that's just a little bit below that, where other people are going to look by it, maybe even mid-level.
Eh,
Uh,
yeah,
Mid-level.
and
Yep.
in my case was because that particular area was hard to get
mhm.
into the good area.
Yeah.
So I have to walk mile and a
3 5.
half or
Yeah.
2 miles
Yeah. A lot of people
to
won't do
get
it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and you know
So
the thing is too is to find some of those areas that are low success rate that might have features there that are causing that. You know, it might have something where people end up staying close because they don't want to go down and cross up on the other side of a hill or something like that. You know, some areas are just friggin' tough, but you know, Rick, for me, you know, it's kind of like when you're fishing on a lake and one person's catching, right? And next thing you know, there's like 10 boats all in the same area,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh
You
yeah.
know, well, there's a lot of fish in that river or in that lake. You just got to go move and find the next spot that everybody's not. And,
Yep.
you know, I would much rather fish a lake that has decent fishing and I can relax out there and have a chance to bring home some fish than sit there and fight a whole crowd the whole time. So, you know, a success rate does not tell you that you're going to kill elk. It means that other people have killed elk. And
Yeah.
if other people are seeing that that's there, there's a bunch of people that are going to just, you know, think that that means they're going to be successful because other people have killed elk there. And that's just not the case. So be the person that sets the trend.
My question to Rick is, if he had opportunities in Montana, how come he's leaving there? You know, Colorado's got more hunters in it than anything. I mean, it's one of the most hunted states in the country. So Montana's not. So, I mean, I wonder why he's making the switch. I mean, you can write back in, Rick, hit me up at gilbert@elkbros.com. I'd like to know why you're making that switch, because it sounds like to me if y'all had opportunities in Montana, I'd be getting back. Because I hear
a fair
Montana.
question.
I hear Montana's straight up awesome. Now it's grizzly country, no doubt, but
Yeah, but
Maybe
to,
not
to
what
your
he's-
point, if they all had opportunities, that
Yeah.
says something.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
yeah,
a
that
big
says something
deal,
if they
man.
had opportunities. But
That's
let
a
me,
big deal.
Rick, let me tell you two other things before we head out of here tonight, and that is that overcrowding, when you have a lot of people, what you have to do is hunt when other people are not hunting. Not necessarily where they're hunting, but when they're not. And there's a lot of people that are not going to be hunting midday. They're not going to be doing the night bugling. Not going to be out there 2 hours early
Or
and be
during
on
the week.
animals. So there's ways of avoiding pressure as well when you do that. The other thing is don't go where everybody's going. I mean, trailheads, end of the roads, where everybody's parking and going and hunting from there. Hunt those areas between the, where the hunt unit starts and where everybody's going, that they're driving by all the time. There's a lot of great elk hunting that a lot of people drive by all the time. One thing I would never do in Colorado is start hunting from a trailhead. That would be a big X for me. I'm going to find those areas between there. I'm going to find pull-offs and other places that I can go and just jump out of my vehicle and hunt where most people aren't going. So that's just something to think about right there.
Fantastic questions.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what we're looking for, guys. If you like what we're doing, please subscribe, rate, and review. You got to go to Apple Podcast or Apple iTunes to review us, and you can check out more elk hunting content at ElkBros.com. And big reminder, if you listeners really like what we're doing, you want your questions answered on the show, just send your question to info, that's info, at ElkBros.com. Joe, as usual, some fantastic content about training, getting our bodies in shape, which, like Luis said, goes into getting our minds in shape, because when our bodies can, our minds can. Fantastic stuff. Always great to have, the professionals in the house talking about it. I'm excited. I feel as good as I've ever felt physically. Back to, doing my walking and stuff like that. So I'm going to come into elk camp ready to rock and roll this year and get after them. So there's some really cool stuff, y'all. Y'all stay tuned in the next few broadcasts and the next few shows, because there are going to be some cool things that we're going to talk about that may be coming up for us here as well that can engage with our listeners. Also, guys, we've said this time and time again, if you get an opportunity, man, please take a child hunting and fishing too, so they too can enjoy the outdoors. Unbelievable stuff this week, Joe. Can't wait to get after it again next week. I'm sorry we can't do our podcast every day. That'd be awful fun. But Joe wouldn't have no time to do anything. We pushing on him to get video content out and all kinds of stuff. Joe's I called him this week spouting off a bunch of whole new ideas and everything. He's like, oh man, I'm in idea overload, Big O. You're gonna have to give me a day or so, So there's some really cool stuff coming up here. We know the Venezuela Mafia gonna pop their first show. Y'all be looking forward to that. To our Spanish speaking audience, I can't wait to see the good stuff that these guys are gonna do. Always good to have Joe and Chav in the house. And like we say down here in the Lone Star State, husbands kiss your wives, wives kiss your husbands, hug your babies, keep your broad head sharp and your powder dry. And we'll see you next week right here on Blue Collar Elk Hunting.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Bye-bye.